I have the little food processor here. You can see how it's really mixed up. I'm going to go ahead and get this off of the blender. Hopefully. Get the cutter off. Get that stuff down in there. Make sure you put this to the side so you don't cut your fingers. Get that out. And again, do that down here. And now all I'm going to do is get my big plate here. Maybe I'll have to drain a little bit more of the water out, but nah, it looks okay. So we're just going to kind of mix that up a little bit, get it loose, and then what I do is I just take the mix here and I'll spoon it out into here and stir that up a little bit, and just clean out my container. Get that ginger and garlic mix kind of all situated in through there. You get it all Alright, so we'll get ready for the next step. Alright, next I'm going to just take a, well, like a tablespoonful of sugar. If I can get my sugar to come out. Is it making the error? Mix it all through. You can add a little bit more, a little bit less. It's actually, because what you do is it ends up fermenting, and the sugar helps. I'm not trying to make it sweet, just trying to get some, and you could probably get away without adding the sugar, but I found that it really ends up fermenting the best with some sugar. That should definitely be enough sugar, so that's going to set for a second. And we got to get the final part, which is what is called the Gochugaru, or it's a Korean hot pepper flakes. And we'll get that in just a second, and I will also get my food handler's gloves to protect my hands. Okay, this is the Gochugaru, the hot pepper flakes. You can see the texture. I think the last time I ordered this particular style, I got it through Walmart, ordering it online, but you can get it on Walmart, you can get it on Amazon. Mainly you want to make sure that it says like Gochugaru hot pepper flakes. It's not powder, it's flakes. And then here's my nice little glove. I don't really need the gloves to protect my hands, but it's to make sure that I don't get any of this in my eye after. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take a third of a cup. You can go more or less. And get I like it kind of hot. usually pretty good. The interesting thing is that when it's done, although it is hot to most people, once it ferments, it's I don't know. It's almost like a sour taste to it, which it's a very good taste. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and sprinkle some of the Gochugaru around. I can either use the spoon, and then really though, this is why I get it, because I want to get in there with the glove and mix it around and get some more of that, then go back onto the and since it's still kind of wet, it helps it to the stick to the Gochugaru, to the cabbage here. Mix, mix, mix. Get all that. Now you can actually eat it right out of after it's done this way if you like. I have done that before, but usually I do, and most people will ferment it for a little bit. And we're going to get to that part. I use mason jars. We'll get to that in just a little bit. I got another head I need to do also. Sometimes you can get this stuff, it's in good, the cabbage that is, you can get it and it's in season. So, if you really want, you could go ahead and use 2 hands with it, but I find that this works for me pretty good. And as you can see, the cabbage is really cut down a little bit. And just for the taste, just do a taste test. I'm going to get one little piece up over here. Alright, that's going to be good. It's not going to be overly hot. I'll have to taste one more. We go over here. One other piece. That's very good. And it's a little sweet now, but that's going to cut down. And you can see I got my glove here as a mess, so I'm going to take these things here, get them into my sink. I'm going to get my glove off, and I'll be right back. Okay, because I ended up doing this in parts, I got me another plastic glove here because I'm going to use that to get it inside. As I said, I'm going to use a standard mason jar. It's just a regular mason jar. Now, this jar here was cleaned off, and this is what when I bought one, it was from the like I said, the King's, and that holds, like, you know, a little bit sometimes, or a lot of times if I get a bigger cabbage. Just let there. You only really want to fill up with the cabbage, and you really pack it. So you only want to go up to about here. Make sure you leave a lot of space for the fermentation. Otherwise you end up with the stuff exploding all over the stuff. What we're going to do is go ahead and get over here. I have me a paper towel to help clean. Just make sure you check the jar. I've used this. Sometimes it looks like there's a piece of pepper on there. Not going to be a problem, but it's hard to get a lot of this out of there. Just get it as clean as you can. Um, and this will ferment on its own. If I can get the glove back on. If I'm blowing into them helps. Oh, so we're gonna have this here, and it's very difficult to show with this on this because my tripod is kind of low, but I'm gonna go ahead and mix the kimchi up just a little bit more in here, and you can kind of squeeze it together. There's nothing wrong with that, because it's gonna, like I said, we're gonna really pack it. I'm gonna take some here and go into the jar. Into the jar, and we'll go ahead and move that so you can kind of see the jar. I'm just packing it, putting it into the jar. I'm just keeping it over the bowl because I don't really want to get a mess. And maybe I can go ahead and adjust the camera upwards. A lot of times my wife will be here to do the camera for me, so we're just continuing to go in there. Hopefully this whole cabbage will now this was about a 4-pound cabbage, so was not a tiny cabbage, but like I said, you can really pack this in, and you need to pack it down real good. Get as much of the air out as possible. Go ahead over here, and you can see on there. Now, I'm going to pack it down really down in there. So, I'm going to go ahead and wipe the sides of that off. Get as much of that off. Anyway, it's going to be in there. I'll make sure I do it a little bit tighter afterwards. You can see there's already a bit of a mess. My wife doesn't eat this. There's just a very little bit of it left, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and use the store-bought jar from that when I had the product in that, just to put that in there. And then if I make anything, even though it hasn't fermented for long, I'll eat this one first, because it's still very tasty. And there you go. It's pack it down. You got it inside there. Move the jar. It's packed down. Again, just try to wipe the sides off. It helps when you have a helper. I'm gonna tell you, I miss my wife helping me. So sometimes I will make sure I get all this excess, and then I'll put it in, but I'm not going to do it this time because I want to get this cleaned up and done. Afterwards, I will leave this sealed, minimum of a day. You might open it up to let some of the gases out, but I think you could be fairly keep it out for 2 days, just at room temperature in your home, and just let it naturally ferment. And after 2 days, it usually has enough flavor. You can always keep it a little bit longer. It'll go into the refrigerator after that, and it easily will be good for a few weeks, 2 weeks at least. I usually heat it up pretty quicker. As you can see, it takes a little bit of a process. The the King's, when I buy it, it's pretty much similar in style and texture and what they put into it as what I ended up making, but this is about a pound, and so this cabbage before, when I made it, was probably about a 4-pound cabbage, and as you can see, I got the majority of that into one mason jar, which is easily twice, if not 3 times, the size of the King's jar. And I got a little bit in the King's jar. Now, if you buy it, at least by me over here, it's just about $7 for this. Now, that seems to be actually reasonable for it pre-made. It takes some time to make it. I buy the cabbage, it's generally $1.99 a pound. So, you know, if you got a 4-pound cabbage, it's almost $8 for that. So it might not have been that much, because I think I bought 2 cabbages and they were about $11. So, so yeah, I guess maybe 4 or 5 pounds each altogether. So I still got another big one in there. But anyway, we're going to go with that. We're going to leave it and go with that. And I hope you enjoy that. And maybe I'll be able to get some links as far as getting that. But anyway, it's just Napa cabbage, some fresh garlic, and ginger, and a little bit of sugar, and the Gochugaru, or the Chinese or Korean pepper flakes, specifically Korean pepper flakes, not powder, not crushed pepper. It's got to be pepper flakes. it just makes a big difference. Okay, guys, thanks for looking at it.